I would love to see a prequel short film about Carl's draperies. Hey everybody, welcome to Mainely Movies. Today I'm going to be talking about the 2019 sci-fi action sequel, Terminator Dark Fate. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All of my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Terminator Dark Fate stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, Linda Hamilton, Mackenzie Davis, and Natalia Reyes, and was directed by Tim Miller. Set 25 years after the events of T2, it tells the story of Danny Ramos, played by Natalia Reyes, who's been targeted for termination by an assassin sent from the future. With the help of a future soldier, Sarah Connor, and a franchise mainstay, she must stay alive and kill the Terminator assassin. If there's one thing we've learned about the Terminator franchise over these last 35 years, it's that nothing's set in stone. Right from that very first movie, we've been told that there's no fate but what we make for ourselves. And that's a quote that the rest of these movies have really lived up to. Very little has stayed consistent from one film to the next, and our understanding of the future, as well as the past, has been complicated and straight up changed on more than one occasion. So how has this franchise gotten away with that and persisted for so long? Time travel. The answer's simple, but the execution of it isn't. And so the franchise has utilized it with varying degrees of success. Sometimes as a means of pushing the story in a unique direction, and sometimes as a crutch to keep things limping along. In either case, every movie in this franchise has utilized it to change something significant in the story, and Terminator Dark Fate is really no different. Due to the multitude of timelines in the franchise at this point, it can be kinda hard to keep track of where things stand for the characters and the fate of humanity. So Dark Fate simplifies things for us by making it clear where, in both time and chronology, this movie sits. This film is set after T2, but a significant event alters the trajectory of the story, effectively erasing T3, Salvation, and Genesis from the timeline. That significant event comes in the opening minutes of the movie, but I'm not going to spoil it for you because it's big and essential to the story, but it also starts things off with an unexpected tone. It's a big change that's definitely going to upset a lot of people, but it's one of those things where you kind of just have to roll with the punches and remember that nothing in this franchise is set in stone. There is no fate, and there's nothing to say that a seventh Terminator movie won't alter the events of this one. As far as the actual story goes, I think Dark Fate is the strongest since T2. It certainly borrows heavily from that movie and hits many of the same basic story beats, but I think there's enough that's different here to still distinguish it and set it apart. This film also continues the exploration of humanity and machines that's been a main theme in the franchise since that second movie. It's familiar in the way that it approaches that idea, almost an amalgamation of T2, Salvation, and Genesis, but approaches how this manifests in certain characters in a way we haven't seen before. This Terminator humanity concept also gets a good deal of focus devoted to it here, which is nice after how glossed over it was in Genesis, despite potentially being one of the most interesting aspects of that movie. Much like the story and themes, Dark Fate's characters are also very familiar. Arnold Schwarzenegger's T-800 is back once again, but we've never seen him quite like this. There's more of an emotional and heavy backstory for him that adds a bit of heft to the story. Don't worry though, he still has that quirky, literal humor that we've come to expect from his character. And he's got a lot of good lines and moments in this one, including a weirdly entertaining conversation about drapes. Our other familiar face is Linda Hamilton as Sarah Connor, returning to the role after 28 years. She also has some good moments, but overall, I found her to be a pretty unlikable character here. There are certainly reasons built into the story to explain her actions and general demeanor, but she was very cynical and, surprisingly, one of my least favorite characters in the movie. The returning characters are obviously going to be familiar, but many of the new characters are also extremely reminiscent of past players in the franchise, once again heavily drawing on T2. Now, this wouldn't be a Terminator review if I didn't at least briefly talk about the action. For the most part, it was quite good. There are a few very good chase sequences, and the CGI is pretty impressive too. There are a couple weird moments, and it does have that more modern action sheen to it, but the action was generally on par with the other sequels. In fact, I think Dark Fate as a whole was pretty on par with the rest of this franchise, and serves as a good, slightly reimagined continuation of the story put forward by the first two films. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is Arnold Schwarzenegger as the T-800. He was easily my favorite character in this movie, and actually brought a little bit of everything to the story. He was an obvious nostalgic connection to the earlier films, but also contributed to the action, emotion, and nearly all of the humor. I might be a bit biased because I've always found his character to be very entertaining, but he truly was the highlight here, and the film improves considerably as soon as he's introduced. The second pro is the unique continuation of the story, specifically with how it relates to T2. I know that this is going to be a point of contention, and a lot of people would put this in the cons, but I kind of like where they went with the story. The franchise-altering event at the beginning of the movie is a bit shocking, and I can see how people could be upset with it. But surprisingly, the plot works even with that change. It's unexpected and results in some story threads and character moments you might not have anticipated for a Terminator movie. On the con side, I had a few minor issues with the pacing and rehashed story beats, but I only had one major issue, and it's not one I ever expected to have with this movie. Sarah Connor. Linda Hamilton's return to this role has been the major marketing tool and source of hype for this movie, but I really didn't like the character. I think the fault lies with the script rather than Hamilton's performance, but she comes across as a very one-note character. Like I said, there's a reason for her demeanor, and she does have some really good badass action scenes, but there's just something about her character that's kinda off-putting here for me. The story had clear paths of character growth for her that just never got taken, and so I hate to say it, but her presence, her whole thing, just got old pretty quick for me. I'm gonna give Terminator Dark Fate 3 out of 5 paws, but I'd say it's a high 3. I was kinda on the fence between 3 and 3.5, but a 3 feels more appropriate, because this movie has a lot to like, but doesn't offer much in terms of overall quality to set it apart from some of the other better Terminator films. I would recommend Terminator Dark Fate to fans of the Terminator franchise. I do think, however, that this is going to be the most divisive film in the franchise because of its major opening event, but also because it essentially wipes out the last 3 movies in the franchise. Both things are bound to aggravate and alienate different sectors of the fan base, but it's still a solid continuation of the story after T2. While it could be enjoyable as an action movie to a Terminator novice, you really should check out T1 and especially T2 beforehand to get the most out of this movie. If you liked Terminator Dark Fate, I've obviously gotta recommend Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Not only does this film pick up shortly after the events of that one and tie into it quite a bit, but there are a lot of story beats and characters that follow similar paths to those present in T2. If you want to see another movie about an enhanced soldier from another time, you should check out Captain America: The Winter Soldier. There aren't any robots, but the main antagonist does have a bionic arm. And if you're sick of Terminator movies at this point, you might want to try the 2018 Halloween. It's another example of a very delayed sequel that ignores the previous sequels and features its star female character returning after several decades. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Terminator Dark Fate? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what do you think of sequels ignoring the events of previous sequels? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insight, or information on this review, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainely Movies, the way life should be.